together?
Yes, Dr. Plummer. I see a slight tear
when you're not together.
And you recommend immobilization?
I see no need for surgery.
Sweet.
Or gotten a phone call on your wrist?
How was your day?
Just beautiful.
If you've seen the ads, your phone will be your gateway to the future. Your TV will bring you the world. You'll be able to shop from home.
Show me was her doll, and
You'll be able to order any movie you want, whenever you want. You'll be a part of a TV game show right from your living room.
And the company that'll bring it to you?
Your phone company, or your cable TV company, or your long-distance company.
10 cents a minute?
It's that simple.
They're going to bring you an electronic shopping mall right into your living room. And the information superhighway is going to make you an electronic super consumer. And the phone company, or the cable TV company, or the long-distance company will be happy to make it easy for you to spend your money. But what about an electronic town square to go with the electronic shopping mall? What about a school, or public library, or public park? Will freedom of speech now go only to the highest bidder? Will there be a toll booth at the public library? People are building electronic town squares. There are grassroots attempts to ensure free speech remains free, even in cyberspace. One of these projects is in Minneapolis.
You all okay with that? Yeah. You measured it. We made it. That's too easy.
The Minneapolis Cable TV Public Access Center, with the help of a lot of volunteers, a donation of used equipment from a computer manufacturer, and some seed money from foundations, is staking a claim in cyberspace for some public space. They are trying to extend the basic ideas of public access cable TV to the information superhighway.
Well, we have just brought in 2 Sun computers, which are the connections for the River project to the internet. And we will be spending the rest of our day hooking these back up. And we hope to be back online so that our users can get back to us yet today. It's now just after 1 o'clock, and who knows how long it'll take us. It only took us hour and a half or so to rip it all down. I suppose it'll take at least twice that long to put it all back up. Just trying to find the cables.
That's right. Ooh, I'm impressed.
Not your typical computer.
Just find a real sharp corner and smash it.
They'll think it's a cradle.
That's right.
That's part of the back, or was. And we don't have to spend. Stuart, will that serial cable fit into the other machine?
MTN is the Minneapolis Telecommunications Network, which was originally set up to help the citizens of the community of Minneapolis to use the cable channel capacity and parts of the franchise feed to be able to communicate with each other, to be able to create a sense of community using television equipment. This is not a thing that we're all born knowing, so naturally training is involved, and we make the equipment available free to the public who have been trained on it, and channel time is always on a first-come, first-served basis. We have no involvement in the content of the program, so it's very important for people to realize that when they see things on MTN, on the channels on cable, that it's their neighbors communicating with them. It's not MTN, but their neighbors being able to share information, to share thoughts, feelings, and dreams with their neighbors. And we essentially transferred communications technology to the public at large to eliminate the disparities that would have occurred had it been left only to those who either had the education and training and the equipment or the money to pay for channel time. The River Project is sort of an extension of that, meaning that there's a lot of talk now, excited to talk about the convergence of computer technology and television technology, and we're faced with the same situation that as everything becomes digitized, as a lot of communication takes place online using computers, there's a great large segments of our population that aren't able to identify and take advantage of the potential of the system. So what we're trying to do is the same thing that we've done for the past 10 years. We're taking the technology that's available and transferring it to the mass of the public, making the equipment available free, the training inexpensive, and we stay out of the way of content. The whole point is of the internet that it should not be a centralized system ultimately, but that it should be as widely distributed as possible, with control and access being distributed in the same way. You communicate so many different ways, it's really hard to describe. You can be one person sending a message to millions, or you can be millions of people posting information in a central location for other people to access. There's also been talk about sending video, from one point to many other points, for instance, in the case of different access centers. I know for organizations, it's a wonderful tool, so you can centralize data where your members who are not located centrally can still access the data just as well, so thereby you may be able to cut down expenses and cut down on the amount of time that it takes for entering, for instance, a database for your membership in 5 different locations. You can enter it in one location and have everybody updated from the different locations. So the potentials are so wide and varying, and there's so many different types of communication that can take place that it's really hard to describe what can happen. So in a sense, our approach to it has been that what you should do is make the resource available, talk to the people as you make it available, and then let it adapt itself to the sorts of efficiencies and uses that people find for it as they get it. I don't think they can really be predetermined by sitting down with a chart and saying this is how people will use it, because people are very creative, and if you give them the resource, they'll make use of it. We're interested in increasing the level of communication within the community and also between communities, because frankly, you know that your community doesn't necessarily end at the border of your town. A lot of times there's people that have a lot in common with you that are located in other locations.
Okay, I'm Jerry Stearns. I'm the new system coordinator for the MTN River Project. This is an opportunity for nonprofit organizations to get on the internet and to do it at a price that is affordable for them, because nonprofits usually don't have a lot of money. The system as we have it here, that we've recently moved into this building, the 2 machines are called Freedom and Liberty. Freedom is the one that most people log into to keep their electronic mail on, and Liberty is the server which keeps things like the news groups available to all the same people. And we also have a number of modems so that people can dial into it. We have 2 different kinds now. This is a rack for them, and then we have the older kind below. We hope to be replacing the older ones so that we'll fill up this whole rack with them eventually. Right now we have 8 dial-in lines, so we can have 8 people dialing in at a time. So far that seldom happens, and we always have a line available, but as we get more people on, we expect them to fill up, and occasionally people will get a busy signal. That's when it's time for us to expand and get some more modem and more phone lines to dial in on. And over here are the console monitors, which are used to maintain this system every time we need to add new accounts, to change some parameters on them. We use the console here. They're directly connected and they're on all the time. The system is up 24 hours a day, so even those people who stay up all night and have little or nothing to do can dial into the system and read their mail. That's a very good time, in fact, to do it, because the network is not as busy in the middle of the night. At the moment, as of today, the middle of January, we have about 260 people who have accounts on the system, and that's about 20 different organizations, including local libraries, local city council, a number of nonprofit arts organizations, the Minneapolis Institute of Arts, a couple of public and community radio stations, and we're expecting that to grow real rapidly when we finally are able to open this up to the general public. I believe that the purpose of the River Project is communication between the different organizations, communications between the organizations in town, like the Minneapolis Institute of Arts, will then have communications very quickly and easily with similar organizations around the country and throughout the world, and that they will be able to have information about themselves readily available on the computer network so that people around the world can find out what they're about.
We're working with the Minnesota Council of Nonprofits, the schools, libraries, county, city, to try and get as much information online and available to the public as possible. So in the process of doing that, we're also learning a whole lot about how people go about using the internet. We're doing training for individuals and nonprofits on how to use the internet, how to find information. In addition, what it allows is anybody worldwide to travel into MTN's internet node, which is called the River Project, and get information on all of the groups that we've got on the system. Our main goal is to set up nonprofits, get their information online and available to the public. We're also working in collaboration with the Twin Cities FreeNet so that the public itself, individuals, have access to that information. The whole internet is a very growing, emerging medium for communication. It's not controlled by a corporation. It's not controlled by an organization. It's basically run and monitored by the people that use it. So that's one of the things that make it very different from any other news source or any other information source or communication source that is currently out there. It's also part of the reason that we need to get the community at large to know what it can do, how to get access to it, and learn how to use it and keep it as an independent source for all of us. That's part of the reason MTN got into the River Project as well. We already train people for technical video equipment and how to use it, how to communicate with that, and then give them space on a public access channel. Internet, much the same way we plan on giving people training on how to connect through the computers, how to use the information, how to send their own information, basically to communicate to the world at large.
The River Project will help community groups and local nonprofit organizations use the internet to communicate with each other and with the public. But what is the internet?
The internet is different things to different people.
This is definitely an interactive resource. You can put up your own information and make it available to everyone. You can send it out to them so that they don't have to come to you to get it, but you send it by way of electronic mail or the news groups. You put the information out there for them to find. You can also send it to them directly if they have an electronic mail address. And then they can do the same back to you. They can put up their information and let you come and get it, or they can send it to you by electronic mail or news groups and make it available to you that way. So there are several ways to make it available, and it goes both directions. It can also go from one person to many recipients at the same time, which makes it really handy when you have a question about a particular topic and you know where to send it. It can get to many people at the same time, and one of them or several of them will have answers for you. So you can get an answer to a rather difficult or complex question from people who have had experience with it.
The Internet is a worldwide network of computer networks. Originally started by the U.S. Department of Defense, it's expanding rapidly to include more and more. It allows you to transfer computer files, find information, and send and receive email.
It's a great freedom of speech forum, which is something that public access has been known for anyway. But it also takes it a step beyond public access in that then it becomes truly interactive. So you can get on and you can have some real-time chats about some very interesting subjects. There's, on our system, over 2,000 news groups available for getting information. But the key is you can also then send information to those same news groups. There's one for public access. You can send in questions for other public access centers around the country and get your answers. I'm also on quite a few different lists, and one of the discussion lists, which works a lot like a broadcast fax in that when I send a message into that list, it is automatically broadcast out to all the participants on the list. What that then does is those 300, sometimes it's thousands of people, all get that message and can turn around and respond. So it becomes this interactive medium.
To me, the internet is sort of a vast array of different types of things that you can do on a worldwide basis. The easiest way to explain the internet, starting off, the easiest way to get on the internet is to use an email program. So you can send electronic mail to and from people that you know. But what I didn't realize beyond that until I began to work with the internet is that you can also sign up for mailing lists called listservs, which are areas of discussion by different groups of people that you might be interested in. So I have subscribed to a listserv for net happenings that goes over different sites on the internet that might be of interest to me, different news sites, different things that are going on the internet. So when people say email and you think, oh, well, I don't know anybody who I would want to receive or send email to, I don't even know anybody else who has a computer. You may not get email from people that you know, but you may get email from different groups that are interested in the same things that you are. A web browser is a program that allows you to access the internet in a very graphical way, based more on pictures and text and using a mouse to click on different what are called hyperlinks. So if I'm in a program called like Netscape, like any of the web browsers, and I click on one of the words that's in blue, or if you have a black and white computer screen, one of the words that's underlined, it's a hyperlink to another page that has more information or different information. So you get addresses of websites, and you go to those websites, and then at those websites there's various information that you can get about that particular topic. So last night I was on the web. I got a new address from one of my Net Happenings listservs, and one of the hyperlinks was a science hyperlink, and I followed that link and I got to a page about volcanoes, and I downloaded a photograph off of that site of a volcano erupting, and I stored it on my hard drive and I put it into my file where I keep pictures. With web pages you can do pictures, you can do sound bites. One of the things I'd like to get into and haven't gotten into very much yet is some of the radio and music pages. They'll give you a little picture of the band and they'll play you a little demo, and you can get it in various sizes depending on the speed of your computer and how much time you want to spend downloading. I've gone to sites at the Smithsonian Institute and collected photographs from the Civil War. It is possible to get video off of the internet. When we talk about video in the video business, we talk about video being 30 frames per second, which gives you smooth motion. When we talk about video on the internet, we're talking about much slower frame rates. So you may get something that's 4 or 5 frames per second, which means that this motion of my arm will be seen as stopping here, 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 and here if it takes me a second to move my arm. So you're talking about an effect that we call a strobe effect when you get video over the internet. This is changing and frame rates are going up, and eventually I think we all see the day that that internet will have true frame rates. But for now it's a little beyond what computers can do. One of the interesting programs that I tried out 2 or 3 weeks ago was what I call the chat channels. I use a program called Urkel, but there's many other programs you can use. And you get on and you type in a command for the computer to list the various topics and groups that are on right now, and you'll get a list that will generate and generate and generate pages of topics. And it will give you the topic, it'll give you the number of people who are connected to that particular topic at that time, and it'll give you a word that you can use to type in so that you can actually get onto that group and talk. And the first time I got on, I talked to a person over in Scotland. The second time I got on to a chat channel, I talked to a woman out of Tel Aviv. And by talking, I mean I simply typed what I wanted to say to her on my keyboard and clicked the send, and it would appear on the chat channel, and then her reply would appear back after she had typed a reply and sent it. And so you have a real-time conversation with somebody who is anywhere else in the world.
The River Project will help nonprofit organizations and communities use the internet to communicate. But how do people get access to the internet?
To get on the internet, you basically need a computer, a modem, and an account. It's pretty easy. And you need a good systems administrator who can help you through the bugs. The first time I configured my computer to get on the internet from home, it took me 2 weeks. Then I took that computer back and had to hook up another computer, and that took me 3 days. And that computer didn't work out, so I took that computer back and I bought a third computer, and it took me an hour. So there is a learning curve involved with getting on the internet, but if you have a good systems administrator and some good software, it's fairly simple to get on.
I think this is a very exciting project. I think that there are a lot of people who don't know yet how this can be helpful to them. I didn't know about it until I started finding out about the network at the University of Minnesota, and there are many times when I have had questions, or I've wanted to get in touch with someone and I didn't know how. I found out by way of the computer network, the internet, where they were, and have since been corresponding with them regularly on the network. I've made a lot of friends that way, and I've kept in contact with old friends. I have a friend now who used to live here, who moved to New Brunswick and has now moved to North Carolina. And without the network, we would have lost touch long ago. So I'm very pleased that this is here, and I think that there are a lot of people who will be pleased when they find out what it can do for them.
But getting access to the internet for large segments of the community is one remaining challenge. Maybe terminals in community centers and libraries will help.
One of our goals is to set up public access terminals in nonprofit agencies, community centers, potentially libraries, government centers, possibly the shopping malls. That's something that'll probably happen about 9 months to a year down the line.
Computers that you see behind me were donated by a local large computer company, and we're really thankful for that. After that, we ended up getting sort of a seed grant from the MacArthur Foundation for being sort of the first in the country attempt to do this at an access center, at a public access center. That was followed by grants from CPB Annenberg and an additional support from US West through that CPB Annenberg program. Thank you. See you online.